So today, what I'm going to speak to you about is something that I use all the time, which is one of my solutions. I've got several, but this is the first in a series of videos on natural flea powder. Now, the reason I like using natural flea powder, there's many reasons. First and foremost, the veterinary treatments, the spot-ons, the pills, etc. have got a lot of toxic side effects. So my approach is always go for the natural solutions first and only escalate up to the chemical solutions when all the natural solutions have failed. Because what we want to do first and foremost with our animals is do no harm. So I've got lots of different formulas I use because I've got cats, dogs, guinea pigs, horses, and obviously work with a lot of clients, different animals of different species. So what I'm going to be showing you today is how to make a safe flea powder that is suitable for absolutely every animal with no toxic ingredients. It's really easy to make using ingredients that you can all get hold of. So I'm going to show you how to make it, show you how to apply it and run through some of the pros and cons. Now before I show you how to make it, one of the really important things is to understand when you're using a natural product, you have to use it differently to say some of the chemicals that you might be used to. So some of you might have dogs and cats and you're used to putting a spot on their neck, which works for about a month, so they say, and kills all the fleas on the animal for a month. Now, I'm not going to go into all the harmful side effects of that. There's other videos on my YouTube channel that you can look to on that, but they're very, very toxic, these ingredients, not only to your pet, but also to yourself and any children in the household, and also to the environment. But humans have got into this idea of put something on once a month, problem solved, I don't need to do anything else. Natural solutions work differently, so you're going to find you're going to need to keep up with them a lot more regularly. But once you get into the habit of it, it's so easy, and for me and most of my clients, knowing that you're not doing harm to your animal, to your human family and to the environment is so, so important and really makes it worthwhile. So please do investigate these natural solutions. You'll see lots coming up on my channel over the next few months, but this is one of my all-time favourites. So what I'm going to talk you through now is the core ingredients that you're going to make. Now I'm going to make this particular version of my flea powder with 3 ingredients that I'm going to run through with you. You might choose to leave one of the ingredients out or 2 of the ingredients out. So I'm going to run through the options, but this is one of my ones that my absolute favourites because I can use it for my cats, my dogs, my guinea pigs and know it's safe for all of them. Now people will be watching this from all different countries across the world. So where you get your ingredients from will vary for each of you. So I don't generally put list of suppliers. If I do have favourite suppliers, I'll put them down below the video. But obviously different suppliers will be available in different countries. So I really encourage you to do your research. And when you're looking for a supplier, if possible, speak to them, interact with them and find out how passionate they are about their products. Also try and avoid the big shops like Amazon, etc. Let's support these local businesses that are really passionate about buying the best quality products, supplying them, and also buying from people and paying a fair price to the growers of these products. So you do your research. As I said, I can't unfortunately tell you what suppliers for the country you're in, but for those of you in the UK, there's a brilliant shop called Naturally Animals, which I used to own and are now owned by a beautiful family that run it for me. They're a really good supplier. And you can see here, I have got some from the Organic Herb Company, and some, I really like, this is a new company I've called Whole Food Earth. So different to Whole Foods, but they've got a lovely range of organic products. So let me talk you through the ingredients. So the first one I'm going to start with is something I always struggle to pronounce. It's called diatomaceous earth. And if you're buying diatomaceous earth, which is shortened to DE, you always must buy food grade. Now this is a lovely natural product that is made from dried exoskeletons of little sea creatures. So it's completely natural, but obviously the processing is really, really important, which is why you must buy the food grade, even though we're applying it topically. Lots of people will have heard of the diatomous earth or DE for internal parasite control, but I do not recommend using this internally, and I will make a separate video for that explaining my reasons why. That is just my personal opinion as a therapist and as an animal owner. But for external application, it's absolutely amazing. It's really versatile, it's incredibly safe, and you can get it from lots of really good suppliers. So that's the DE. Now what I would say is when you're using DE and making it, the only safety issue is you don't want to breathe too much in, because it can be, because it's sharp little exoskeletons of crustaceans, it's very sharp. So if you breathe it in, it can damage in large quantities the alveoli of the lungs for you or your animal. So you're going to see when I'm applying it, I always apply it outside so the animal's in fresh air. But I'm not going to be snorting this, so I'm going to be quite safe. So the second ingredient on my list, for anyone that knows me and who's done any of my natural products on the CatherineEdwardsAcademy.com, is green clay. Now green clay, I could write a whole book on how amazing green clay is. This is French green clay, and you can use it internally on wounds, but it's an amazing addition to the flea powder. And the reason why it's so important to add the flea powder, some people, and if my pets have got a lot of fleas, and I do live on sand, and I have got 3 dogs, 5 cats, and because we're having a really dry summer, there's a lot of fleas around. So if you've got real infestation, you can just use the diatomous earth as the only ingredient of your flea powder. The good thing is it will kill the fleas, and I'm going to talk you through later in this video how often to apply it. But the bad news is because of its mode of action of breaking down exoskeletons and being really sharp microparticles, it can damage your pet's coat. So it's quite abrasive. It will make the pet's coat quite dry and abrasive looking. So I mix it with the green clay because the green clay is full of natural minerals. It's one of the things that animals would naturally roll and bathe themselves in as a parasite protection, and it's very healing for the skin. So if, like some of my dogs, they've already got some insect bites and a bit of irritation on their skin, as well as protecting from the fleas, this will also soothe and heal the skin, which is really, really important. And all of these ingredients are perfectly safe should your pet decide to lick them off. So green clay, you're going to be hearing lots about green clay. I use it for everything. And the third one on my list, which again, a beautiful product, is neem leaf powder. Now, I will put the Latin names for these products in the description box below. But neem, you can get, I'm using the leaf powder in this mixture because it's quite gentle. Neem is very anti-parasitic. It's a really good insect repellent. It's also a very cooling herb, so if your animal has already got skin irritation caused by insect bites or flea bites, it's really good. But the one thing I would say about neem is some animals have a real dislike to it. So one of my horses, Romeo, hates the smell of neem and won't let me put it anywhere near you. So when you're using these products for the first time, please let your animal sniff them all individually, and if they really take an instant dislike, this is the self-selection coming in, the zoopharmacognosy, then please leave that ingredient out. Of these 3, the only one you're likely to have a problem with is the neem, because it is quite strong smelling and some animals really don't react well to neem. I have already tested all my cats and dogs with neem, and I know they're absolutely fine, which is why I'm including it in my formula today. So what I will do is you'll see a little bit of slide with some of the properties of each of these ingredients in there, but this is my standard 3 ingredient flea powder, safe for cats and dogs and small animals like guinea pigs. However, don't panic if there's one of those ingredients you can't source, you can easily make it with the other 2. So the fun bit now is the mixing, and this couldn't be more straightforward, but I'm going to show you anyway, because if you're anything like me, you like to see someone doing it. Now with this formula, you do not have to be exact with ingredients. You don't need to measure things out by weighing them. We're looking for approximate ingredients. But what is really important is anytime you're using green clay, avoid using metal spoons, metal containers, metal mixing bowls. The reason for that is the green clay has got its own electrical charge, which is part of what makes it so effective for healing wounds. And if you mix it using metal utensils, you'll interfere with that and take away some of its effectiveness. So I've got my glass bowl, my glass measuring cup, doesn't need measurements on it because I'm just going proportions. So for this recipe, I am simply, and I always add the neem last, because if you're putting the same cup in the different ingredients, I start with the one that's odourless and tasteless, so I'm not contaminating the others. So I am literally going to get 2 measures, and we're doing this by volume, not weight. So just 2 measures of my DE, the diatomaceous earth. And please don't feel you need to be exact with this. I'm literally just approximate. Always seal your packets up after you, because it's really important you keep your ingredients fresh and to get them sealed away from moisture and damage before. Then I'm going to have 1 cup of my green clay. I love making these formulas, they're such fun. When you're feeling and working with these natural products, it's so joyful. Look at the beautiful, isn't it weird? Aren't us humans weird? It's green clay, but it's grey in colour. And then last but not least, I'm going to add half a cup of the neem powder. Now the reason I'm doing 2, 1 halves, so each time I'm halving the amount. Again, you don't need to be exact, but the neem powder is quite expensive. And I'm using the neem powder as cooling, and also because it's got a strong repellent smell to all biting insects, but you do not need a lot of it. It's very strong smelling. I'm not going to be rolling in this myself. Look at that beautiful combination of natural earthy colours. I've got my plastic spoon. I normally use my hands, but I'm being good for the video. I'm giving it a good old mix up. It's simple as that. Now, if you're doing it straight into a Tupperware container, you just put the lid on and shake. But you're mixing up the ingredients, you're getting a nice even coverage. Then what you want to do is store it in an airtight container. Now, you're going to see when I apply it, I have a lovely sprinkler tool because I've got so many animals, I use this to spray it. You can make your own sprinkle tool by getting an old plastic bottle, drilling some holes in the bottom of it and using a funnel to fill it up, or you can just apply it by hand. I'm going to show you both, but I've got one of these and it makes my life easier. So I'm just spooning it in, and I keep this full at all times because you are going to see in a minute, I'm going to explain how often you have to apply this, and it's a lot more often than once a month, and I'll explain all that in the next section. So that clicks on, that's ready for me to go and find my dogs and cats and get it. The rest of it, you can either keep in one of these resealable paper bags, a paper bag, which is what I normally keep it in, but I've run out at the moment. But because we're midsummer here and I'm getting through quite a lot of this with the amount of animals I've got a nice Tupperware pot, no metal in it, because I don't want to deactivate any of the clay. Keeping it nice and sealed, and that's ready for me to top up my sprinkler, or with some of the cats you're going to see I put it on by hand because some of my cats that are a little bit more sensitive don't like the big sprinkler bottle. So it's literally that simple. Don't get hung up by quantities, work with what works for your animal. The only one I want you to test out with your animal beforehand is the neem powder, because if you put some on your hand and let your dog or cat or guinea pig sniff it, if they really look repelled by it, then leave that ingredient out. But if they're okay with it, they're fine with it, then add it in, because you're going to get some great properties for that. So we've now seen how to make the flea powder, the natural flea powder for your cats, dogs and small animals. Now, before I show you how to apply it, I want to explain why we need to be using these natural products more often. They're not put on once a month and that's going to kill all the fleas for the month. The way these natural products work is by repelling the fleas, healing the skin, and also in the case of the diatomaceous earth, in terms of breaking down the exoskeletons of the adult fleas. So fleas breed incredibly quickly. And so they have a very quick breeding cycle. So what you need to be doing is, if your pet has already got fleas, you need to be applying this powder, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You need to be applying it every day for at least 3 days, but I recommend for at least a week. So if your pet already has fleas, apply it every day for at least a week. What you're going to do then is you'll be killing off the adult fleas that are on there, but then you need to keep applying it, because bear in mind you've got the little hatching fleas that are going to come out and it won't kill the eggs. So what we want to do is catch them at all their stages of the life cycle. I will show you in a separate video how to use a flea comb properly, because this is absolutely essential to natural parasite control. Now, if you're using it for preventive measures, what I recommend is applying it 1 day a week during the flea season. So for us in the UK, that would be during the summer hot months. And in the winter, so long as your pet hasn't already got fleas, you might just want to do it once a month as a preventative. One of the things that people say is initially it's very much a change of mindset as to why you need to be doing these things regularly, and people haven't got time for this. It's much easier to do a spot on, but if you're watching this video, you're already pretty bought into that you don't want to be causing harm to your animals by putting toxic chemicals on them. But what I would say is, when you're applying this is a perfect opportunity for you to be bonding with your animal, for you to be really feeling your animal over, and I'll show you that when I'm applying it. So it's part and parcel of the daily health care that you should be doing with your animal anyway, and trust me, it will really increase the bond. Now sometimes you'll see some of my more nervous cats don't particularly like the powder, but it's great, and you just work in and they get better and better with it. The dogs love it. So what I want people to really understand is this is a change of mindset about how you're caring for your animals. It's about increasing that bond, really showing them the love and respect they deserve by not putting toxic chemicals on just for our human ease. And of course, we don't want our pets to have fleas, because it can be very uncomfortable and distressing for them. And some of them, like you'll see with some of my animals, have quite severe flea reactions. But really use it and sort of say, this is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm applying the powder, but it's also giving me the perfect opportunity to really check my pet all over and make sure that I'm picking up on early warning signs of anything that might be going amiss. So I hope that puts your mind at rest in terms of this really does take seconds to apply, but there's lots of extra benefits of doing this rather than using the chemical once a month approach. We got. So I'm going to pop a lead on Lola, not that I normally do to apply it, but just because for the video it's not going to be great if she runs off. So here we have beautifully modelling my lovely Lola dog. Now Lola, even though it's summertime and she's lost a lot of her coat, it's got an incredibly thick double coat. So with her I have to work a bit harder to get the flea powder in. So all I'm going to do, I love doing this, it's like, there used to be an advert called Shake and Vac. So, with toxic chemicals for your carpet. But look, I'm coating it in. Now, I'm doing it outside because, as I said, with the diatomaceous earth, the DE, it can be abrasive to the lungs. So I don't want to do it in an enclosed space. So I'm putting some on, and then we're beautifully massaging it into the coat. So she loves it now. And what I'm doing, because she's got such a thick coat, I'm really rubbing it in. And do you see how by doing this, not only does it give me a chance to give you a lovely massage, Lily, also pretty, but it's also allowing me to feel for any bumps and lumps. She's got a few scratches here where she's been scratching herself, because Lola is very allergic to fleas. Now, if you don't have one of these shakers, what you can do is you can just have it in your pot, get some in your hand, and simply put it down. This is what I do with some of my shy cats, and rub it in. You will lose some, but to be quite honest, it's killing the environment. It's killing anything in the environment, and you can sweep that up and put it back into your container. So I'm really rubbing it into her, And then Lola, should we lie down and do your tummy? Should we do your tummy? Lie down then. Let's do your tum-tum. She's so sweet. She actually really likes it. Look. Oh, you are a good model. So I love doing this. It's such a bonding time when you change these habits like this. So I'm giving her a really good shake. And the reason I'm applying a lot to Lola, because we are in the middle of a drought in the UK. And I'm on sandy soil. So, and there's a lot of animals and a lot of wild animals, and she's got ants' nests here. So this allows me to see where she's got existing bites, where she's had a bit of a scratch, and she loves it. Look, she loves it. Oh, it's lovely. So what I'm particularly concentrating on is in the groin area, under the armpits. Now, you don't always have to put this much on. If you've got an animal which has got a thinner coat than Lola, you don't have to put this much on. But as I said, we are in the middle of a drought in the UK. I'm on sandy soil. I've got a lot of animals. Is that nice, Lola? And you can see she's not objecting much to her thing. Now, it will make her coat go quite dull. She'll shake that off. And what I would normally do, I normally do mine on the terrace, because what I'll do afterwards is I'll just sweep this up with a dustpan and brush and put it back in my pot, so I'm not wasting it. So it's as simple as that, completely safe for you to have in your hands, safe for children to apply, out in the fresh air so you're not inhaling too much in. Applying it, I will, at this moment, I'm applying it daily to them. I wouldn't always put that much on every day, but the great thing is I know this is completely safe should Lola choose to lick it off. You're such a sweetheart. And also, it just means it's not going to stain my furniture. I can hoover it up, and you can see she's quite happy about it. And it's a really bonding time for you, as opposed to the reaction that most animals have when you put the spot on, where quite frankly, they know their mum or dad's poisoning them. So enjoy. So what I'm going to do is show you how to apply the flea powder to a very noisy Coco. Just hold her by the shoulders and shake it on. And then, as you can see, Coco's long haired. So what I'm doing is ruffling it like that. She doesn't like it much. So you will see some animals don't like it. So I've retrieved Coco. And then what I'm going to do, put a little bit more on her. Rub it into her coat. She looks like a skunk. Oh, Coco, how's that feel? And she's got very long fur, and what she'll do is when I put her on, she'll probably have a good old roll. So I will apply that to Coco, who's not very impressed, a couple of times. I'll apply it every day for 10 days just to get her fleas under control. I'm going to show you in a separate video how to use a flea comb for dogs and cats. It's such good fun. One of my favourite activities, but it's really, really important to do all your pets at one time. So I will be rounding all of mine up as they appear. The cats in this hot weather are sleeping under all the bushes, and doing them all. And what I'm mainly doing with the cats is doing it down the spine, particularly around their neck area and the base of the tail, making sure it doesn't go in their eyes. She's quite happy now. She's actually quite happy with it. What I do with most of the cats is I don't use the shaker. I actually take it out and just rub it in. And you can see she's quite happily lying in the grass down over there. It doesn't upset her. She's not trying to lick it off. It doesn't irritate her. It's just, as they say, never work with children and animals because they'll always embarrass you. But it is important that you do put it on and rub it in. It's very important that you do all your animals in the household at the same sort of time. So over the course of the day, I will round them all up. I've done both the dogs. I'm just waiting for the other cats to come home for tea, and I'll be doing them. If I find another of the cats, I will show you how to do one of those, but most of mine really don't mind it at all. But for the really shy ones, because I do have a lot of cats that have turned up as strays or rescue that haven't been handled much before, I would just take the lid off, get some in my hand and rub it on like this, and then they haven't got a scary plastic thing being shaked at them. So experiment, see what works for you, but persevere, because once it's on, they really don't mind it at all. And safe for the environment, safe for you, and most importantly, safe for your pets. So I really hope that you're going to let me know how you get on with this. Let me know any questions below. Please do persevere, because it's just incorporating this new routine into your lifestyle, and trust me, your cats, dogs and any other animals will really, really thank you for it.